We've got a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. Of course, with all of the recent warm weather we've had over recent weeks, it's kind of hard to believe that a major winter storm is likely about to impact the state of Texas. So this is what we're talking about. Our next big weather maker, it's going to be the threat for maybe some significant snow for parts of the state, and also the threat for some super dangerous and messy ice out there on some of the roads. So which parts of Texas will have to deal with this winter storm? And here in Houston, will we be on the warm side of things where we get more rain, or will we get sleet, snow, or ice? I'll have the answer to all of that coming up. But usually we start to look out for these things several days out. We're looking at those long-range computer models, and every now and then you see a signal and you think, uh-oh, could we have something big coming? Maybe a big threat for severe storms or a big threat for winter type weather. So this time around, it is the threat for a winter storm. So of course, about 6 to 8 days out, we really start paying closer attention to those longer range models and observing the weather patterns, how they're shifting, how they're changing, to see if we could potentially have a big time weather event heading our way. 4 to 5 days out, we're looking more for that model consistency, and we're trying to get more confidence in these computer models that we're looking at. Are they saying one thing one day and then completely flip-flopping the next day, or are they looking a little bit more consistent? Then as we get into the 2 to 3 days out time frame, that's when we really start to work on fine-tuning that forecast, getting a general idea of timing, location, and impact. So we are in that time frame now, a couple days out from what could be a major winter storm for parts of the state of Texas. So of course we are fine-tuning the forecast, getting an idea of that timing, and giving you the areas that will have the biggest impacts and that will feel the brunt of this potential winter storm. Of course, 0 to 1 days out, that is a call to action. You need to be prepared. You need to be gearing up for some big time weather changes. That's when we're starting to narrow down the exact timing and overall impacts from whatever is headed our way. This time around, like I said, it is a winter storm threat, and this is not for the Houston area, but up into North Texas. We're talking about a winter storm watch that has been put into place by the National Weather Service from late Wednesday night around midnight all the way through Thursday and even into Friday. It ends at 6 p.m. on Friday evening. What are we talking about, and what locations are impacted? Well, you can clearly see the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex included in this. That would be the city of Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth, and up into Denton County. Of course, the city of Denton, over towards McKinney, included in this as well. Back to the west, Mineral Wells, farther north, Sherman, Paris, and over towards Terrell and Kaufman as well. All of these spots will have the chance to experience maybe 3 to 6 inches of snow. Now, if we were talking about New York or maybe Ohio, that wouldn't be as big of a deal, but we're talking about parts of the deep south getting maybe a 1/2 foot of snow and up to 1/10 of an inch of ice. So that snow combined with that ice is a very dangerous combination. Of course, in the south, we don't have all of those extra crews to quickly get out there and clear the road. So that could mean some big problems for the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Now, what about the Houston area? Do we have any winter weather alerts here for us? Well, the answer right now is no, and that is good news. However, we are going to get a lot of rain. We're going to be on the slightly warmer, wetter side of things. So it is still going to be a chilly rain here, but it will be warm enough to where it's mainly just going to be a rain event for us instead of a sleet, freezing rain, or snow event. So we are expecting a decent amount of rain with this system, and the flash flood risk is already here for Thursday. Anywhere from Houston to League City to Galveston, down to Lake Jackson and up towards Rosenberg and over into central and southern parts of Liberty County and over into Chambers County. So what does this mean? It does not mean that you're going to have to be going around in boats, but it does mean that threat for street flooding is going to be a little on the elevated side. And notice we're in the lowest marginal category. That's a 5% risk for some street flooding. So a very low chance, but just keep in mind that it is a slightly higher threat than normal, that we could get some heavy downpours on Thursday, especially Thursday evening and Thursday night, that could lead to a few flooding issues. So just how much rain are we talking about for the Houston area? Well, This particular model between tonight and the next few days showing that we will likely get a couple of inches of rainfall, maybe 2 to 3 inches for a big chunk of the area. We're in the yellows, and you can see that that is a couple inches of rain. So notice the heaviest rain likely going to be situated down around the coast. So Angleton, Lake Jackson, Freeport, Galveston could get maybe 2 to 3 inches of rain, but maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain for the Houston area. So I think it's mainly going to be a rain event for us, but of course there could be the potential for a few sleet pellets mixing in throughout the day and nighttime on Thursday and maybe early Friday, but I just don't think we're going to have a huge threat for major snow blanketing the roads or for major icing for the Houston area. But this is a breakdown of what we are expecting with these winter weather threats. Winter storm will definitely impact the state of Texas Wednesday through Friday. So gear up for that, especially if you are planning on traveling. Cloudy, cold Wednesday with isolated chilly rain for the Houston area. Just a low chance for rain Wednesday. Rain and storms, though, are possible for Houston and surrounding areas Thursday through early Friday. And the good news for Houston, ice is not expected near the Houston area or for Houston, but we are going to get some very chilly, uncomfortable rain for Thursday through early Friday. You definitely need to stay alert for changes. The temps north of Houston up towards College Station, Huntsville, could briefly reach freezing, especially late Thursday into Friday. So there could be some icing on some of those elevated surfaces up there, some of the bridges, some of the overpasses. So you will need to keep that in mind. Rain snow line is still difficult to pinpoint at this time. So that's something we're going to try to narrow down and fine tune for you over the next 24 hours. Road hazards are going to be more likely as you are traveling north out of Austin or out of the Houston area up towards the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's where you're likely going to run into some trouble. Of course, we got a big time game out at AT&T Stadium in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, of course, in Arlington. Friday evening. It's the path to the national championships. It's the semifinals with UT, of course, Texas and Ohio State. So a huge game there, Cotton Bowl Classic. A lot of you will be traveling from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You'll be traveling from the Austin area, and you'll likely run into some issues if you're heading there Thursday or early Friday. For Houston, though, marginal flooding threat going to be in place Thursday through Friday morning. So let's check out our computer model. This is our GFS model and track this messy weather for you. Notice for 9 p.m. tonight, things are looking pretty good and pretty quiet across the state. 40 degrees in Houston, 32 in Dallas, so cold enough for ice, but we're still waiting on the precip. There's actually going to be an area of low pressure, a coastal low, expected to develop near South Texas, and that is going to track north and east. Is going to drag up a lot of Gulf moisture, and with the chilly air already in place, you know what that means. It means the threat for a major winter Texas storm. So let's go into the future and see what we're looking like for 4 p.m. Wednesday. Things are still pretty quiet across the state. Chilly, but mainly dry, low to mid 40s, stretching from Dallas to Austin to Houston. Now, as we go into Wednesday night, you'll notice some colors starting to pop up on the map, and this is the beginning of this major winter storm that we're expecting across the state of Texas. Notice by 10 a.m. Thursday, so late Wednesday night into Thursday, wintry precip starting to develop across Dallas. We're talking about a wintry mix, rain, sleet, and snow as those temps hold steady in the middle 30s, likely switching to all frozen precip late on Thursday into Friday. For Houston, low 40s as a few showers start to push in. Notice by 4 p.m. on Thursday, temperatures hovering around 39, 40 degrees. That's several degrees above freezing, so we're not worried about any ice here for Houston Thursday afternoon. But notice the colors, dark green and yellow. That's some heavy rain building in, and it's going to be a chilly, uncomfortable rain with those temps near 40 pretty much all afternoon, and the rain coming down heavy at times. But if you're traveling up towards Dallas Thursday afternoon, maybe trying to get into town for that big game, Cotton Bowl Classic on Friday evening, temperatures will likely be hovering very close to freezing, and we're talking about likely sleet, freezing rain, and or snow falling for the Dallas area Thursday afternoon through Thursday night. It gets even worse Thursday night into early Friday. In fact, 11:30 p.m. Thursday, very heavy rain popping up over Houston and Galveston. Notice temperatures still staying above freezing, near 40 degrees. Up towards Dallas, though, still close to freezing, 32, 33, 34 degrees. And notice Dallas in that blue, which would be some snowfall with maybe a little sleet mixing in at times. So that is why we are expecting the accumulating snow to be up across parts of North Texas, including Dallas, Arlington, and Fort Worth. As we go into Friday morning, 7 a.m., still flakes are flying across parts of Dallas, starting to push out though, still getting some rain in Houston with temperatures in the low 40s. Notice temps though still near freezing for the Dallas area for Friday morning. Heading into Friday evening, of course, game time for Texas, Ohio State, Cotton Bowl Classic, right around 6:30, 6 o'clock. Precip is gone. It's out of there for the Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth area. But temperatures are still near freezing in the middle 30s, so that means there could still be some ice, snow, or slush out there on the road, so it could be kind of tricky travel as you're trying to get out there to AT&T Stadium. For the Houston area, 40 degrees, rain exiting, so I think by Friday evening we should be rain-free and still on the cool side, but we are not expecting ice this way, so that is some good news. So let me break down the game time forecast. Texas, Ohio State, 6:30 p.m. kickoff Friday night. This is the Cotton Bowl Classic out at AT&T Stadium, of course, where the Dallas Cowboys play. And this time it's going to be two schools trying to push their way to the national championship game. Should be a super exciting game. And fortunately, there's a roof for AT&T Stadium. So as long as you can get to the game, you should be okay. But the problem is that some of those roads in and around the DFW area may still be a little slushy or a little icy for this time before the game. So just make sure that you are extra careful. 36 degrees around kickoff, drying out, chilly, so no extra precip at that time, but there could still be some snow or ice on the roads. Halftime, 34 degrees, less clouds, still cold, and as you're leaving the game, and we'll know by then who the big winner is it UT? Is it Ohio State? Well, we'll know then, but you will need to bundle up because those temperatures will be right around freezing towards the end of the game. So here's some advice. If you are traveling from the Houston area, or if you're traveling from Austin, trying to get up to that big game, maybe late Wednesday, Thursday, especially on Thursday, and into early Friday, here are some things you may want to do in case you run into some trouble out there on the roads. Try to take a winter kit with you in case you get stranded. You don't want that to happen, but it's always best to be prepared in case these types of things happen. What types of things do you need? Well, we're talking about tire chains, booster cables, a flashlight, a shovel, and blankets, because if you're stuck in that car with no heat, you will need those things to try to stay safe, stay warm, and wait on some help. And of course, those tire chains will help you if you run into some really sloppy roads, snowy, icy roads out there. It's not going to help much with the ice, but it certainly would help some with some snow-covered roads. All right, extra clothing, a great idea if you get stranded in your vehicle for longer periods of time. And of course, if it's really cold, it doesn't even take that long to start freezing in that car. Water is important to keep in your car. First aid kit would be great if you do run into some trouble out there on the roads. Finally, if you are going to be out in any of this, in the heavy rain, the sleet, the snow, make sure to drive with extreme caution and have multiple ways to get warnings. Of course, the best way to get those warnings would be to have our Fox 26 weather app downloaded, turn those alerts on, and you will be able to get the warnings as you're driving around, as you're at home. Just make sure that you have a way to get those alerts, because we could have some flooding in the Houston area and definitely a much higher shot for a winter storm up around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So of course, we will continue to monitor things very closely. But just keep in mind that there's definitely the potential for a winter storm heading to Texas. It looks like the worst of it will be parts of North Texas and maybe western portions of Texas getting in on some of that snow as well. But for the Houston area, it's looking like it's mainly going to be a decent shot for some widespread rain, heavy at times, maybe a little street flooding, but it looks like we will escape the majority of that ice. Maybe a few sleet pellets, but overall it's looking like a rain event here and a snow and ice event in North Texas. Once again, I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Remeisha Shade. Make sure to keep checking back with us for additional updates on this developing winter storm.